Welcome to the We Shine Well podcast, where I have real conversations with thought leaders in wellness to help you live your most vibrant, aligned, and purposeful life. I'm your host, Zoe Kelsey, founder of We Shine Well. Here, we share honest stories, gems of wisdom, and insight to spark clarity and guide your next right step, so you can shine brighter from the inside out. Now let's dive in. Hi friends, I'm so excited to introduce you to today's guest. Alicia Ace Easter is a wellness practitioner, speaker, and founder of Ace Yoga LA and Ace Enterprises, and she has been doing this work for nearly 2 decades. She blends yoga, meditation, breath work, sound healing, and what she calls soulful strategy to help people reconnect to themselves, regulate their nervous systems, and return to the life they actually want to be living. Her signature offering, Peace in the Pause, is built on a truth that most of us need to hear on repeat, that slowing down is not falling behind, that clarity lives in the quiet, and that joy is not a destination, it's a practice. Ace also does some of my favorite work in this space, teaching yoga and mindfulness to children and families, creating spaces where kids can build emotional awareness and confidence from the very beginning. Her mantra always says, stay brave in your pursuit of joy. And today, that is exactly what we're going to explore. Let's dive in. Hi, Ace. I am so excited to have you on the We Shine Well podcast today. You are such a vibrant light, and right now we're even coming off the goodness of our summit on Friday, and you being a speaker and just like sharing your light with all of our attendees and your story. And I feel like as I get to know you more, it just gets even better.
Oh my gosh, Zoe Kelsey. I know Kelsey. It's so funny communicating with you guys. I'm just like, okay, Zoe, you are, Kelsey said it best, a star. Thank you so much for having me and putting on such a beautiful summit, such a beautiful day for women of all different backgrounds to really come together, to learn, to share, to be vulnerable, to be nourished. So thank you.
Of course. And you added to all that brilliance. So today you've had over 20 years in this work, and I want to start off like, what called you to yoga and wellness, and how has that calling evolved in your multi-dimensional manifest generator practice that you have today?
So what originally called me to yoga was I was traveling for work right out of college, and anywhere that I would go, I would join a gym. And when I was in Chicago, actually, one of my first assignments was in Chicago, and I was running along Lake Michigan, just kind of like a lot of cities that I would go to, I wouldn't know anybody. So that's why I joined a gym. And yoga kind of happened as a supplement to my running practice that I was doing every day. I would run like 7 to 8 miles a day, either before work or after work, just kind of depending on what I had going on for the evening. And I saw a sign when I was somewhere just kind of driving around the city over on the Gold Coast, and it was like 7-day free yoga at this hot yoga studio. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. I'm gonna go check this out. And I went, and it was beautiful. And it was a really eye-opening moment for many reasons. One, I'd never done anything like that, a heated yoga class, a heated anything at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2, really just having this, body awareness for myself, growing up playing sports and whatnot, is completely different than stepping into a yoga studio and onto a yoga mat. So I continued with that practice. Ended up joining the YMCA over near where I was working in South Shore, and went to practice there, and it was beautiful. Had a beautiful yoga teacher there, and I knew that I wanted to do this more. And so in addition to finding a gym in any city that I would go to, I also ended up finding yoga studios, which they were few and far between at that time. And most of them were heated yoga studios, the Bikram yoga studios of the world. They weren't, a ton of options other than Bikram yoga for hot. And
Uh-huh.
I just loved it. I loved it so much. And what it started to do for me was really help me to understand grief being held in the body and
Mm,
understanding that also I hadn't grieved the death of my mom, who'd
mm,
passed away from pancreatic cancer about 4 years prior. So it just brought like the class itself, the understanding of this, of the physicality of the practice itself drew me in, and what has kept me and what has inspired me to make this a career and really step into it as a calling to share with other people was how much it healed me from the inside out.
mm. That's powerful. And it's like the through line is you followed the breadcrumbs of how can I find my people? And in that, it sounds like you also came to find the truest version of yourself by having that somatic mind body connection as well, to be able to get to the deeper level of you, surrounding yourself with those people who are already there for it as well.
I mean, and I love that you said following the breadcrumbs because I'm actually one of my teachers, Miriam Hasna. I'm a part of her New Earth Mystery School, and she's become a spiritual mentor for me. And right now, I just listened to a class called Following the Breadcrumbs. And so I was like, okay. So just a lot of, I also had a youth group pastor growing up who follow the thread, right? Like, where's the
Uh-huh.
thread leading you? Where's that thread calling you? Is it to pick up the phone and call a person? Is it to step into a career? Is it travel to a city or state, travel to a country, try something new, walk away from something that's no longer serving you? So a lot of breadcrumbs are followed, a lot of them.
Yes. I mean, I believe that God winks are everywhere. And it's a
Everywhere.
matter of us having clarity to be able to see them. It's even, how can you think of like miracles are everywhere? Like we are literally having a conversation over Zoom, breathing right now because there have been breadcrumbs that have led us to this point. Kelsey Patel is one of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love God winks.
Yeah. And something that you mentioned is the grief of your mom. I know that you lost both your father when you were young, as well as your mother as well. How do you feel like that has shaped the way that you live and lead your life and show up for yourself and other people?
Great question. I lost my mom when I was 19, and my father, I was 17, but my father wasn't in the home with us. So it wasn't
Mhm.
as large of an impact on my life then, him passing away, as it was my mom when she passed away.
Mhm.
However, the absence of my father and him passing and us reconnecting in a spiritual realm through some deep ancestral work that I've done over the years, that really helped me to understand. I'll talk about my father briefly first. Him passing away and him not even being a part of my life had me really wondering about, okay, the presence of men, the presence of a man, how to
Mhm.
be in relationship, how to really be proud of myself and believe in myself and,
Yeah.
have the gusto that I see some of my friends have who have had active fathers in their lives that just really kind of go after anything that you
Yeah.
want, really do everything that you want
Mhm.
unapologetically. And I don't know if it's just me having his personality of like, I'm just gonna, this sounds cool, so let's just do it, or let's just go
Mhm.
for it, or I don't know anything else but to just keep putting one foot in front of the other and trusting that God has my back and
Mhm.
everything will be okay. And we have angels on earth and everything will be fine. And so his presence really helped me, his non-presence rather, really had me in a space of survival and really saying, you know what, like, no one's coming to save you. You got to figure it out on your own. Like, keep going because no one's going to help you. There's no one left to help you that's going to nurture
Mhm.
you and care for you the way that a father and a mother would. So let's just keep going.
Yeah.
And that's why I think survival versus being in this thriving space that I am now, with understanding that community, village, really finding your people, finding your place in
Mhm.
life is something that is non-negotiable. And if you
Yeah.
want to really ascend and go far, the African proverb, you want to go, fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together, is one of
Mhm.
my favorite quotes, because I was operating like my job out of college was literally me alone going to a new city and state every 6 to 8 weeks, where nine times
Wow.
out of 10, I didn't know a soul in that city. And,
Mhm.
but on the upside, I have a lot of friends in a lot of different places. And so that was really fun. And
Mhm.
when my mom passed away, the relationship with my mom and we were very close. And it was, times where it was like tumultuous. Funny enough, that last night I found a letter that I wrote to her for Mother's Day, and I was probably being like a teenage punk or something like that. So I was like, I'm sorry I'm being so difficult or whatever. It seems like we're always like at each other's throat. But just know that I love you. And it was really a sweet letter on like pink paper. It was great.
Mhm.
And her passing, it that shut me down. It shut me down.
Mhm.
I laid next to her body, and in that moment, I was like, I'm really all alone now. Like,
Mhm.
that's it. It's just me. So I was a freshman in college. So I was like, okay, we're going
Mhm.
to go back to college. We're going to finish. We're going to get a job, and we're going to do everything in honor of mom, because she worked
Yeah.
so hard. So let's make sure that her hard work wasn't in vain. And then a
Mhm.
lot of what I needed as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old coming into womanhood was just not there. And so I had to find it on my own. I had to find
Yeah.
it in watching people do what I wouldn't do, watching
Mhm.
people do what I would do, and really connecting with a lot of older women who were friends with my mom from the church and whatnot, where we went to in Atlanta.
Mhm.
And just really reaching out, and then sometimes just not even reaching out, but then having people reach out to me. And I was really scared. It was a really scary time, because I just I zipped myself up. And so in yoga, it helped me to truly like unzip, to trust, to breathe, to not just do things in honor of my mom, but almost now doing them alongside her in the spiritual realm in which where she is. So it's been a really, like, losing both of your parents before you're 19 years old has such a tremendous impact on, the
Yeah.
way that, I see the world, the way I operate in the world, the way that I trusted people, the way that I trusted myself. And I'm a work in progress and learning constantly,
Mhm.
but I'm really glad that I'm able to be here today, and that I didn't really, because I could have gone down several different roads, but
Yeah.
mom's hand always guiding some way, shape, or form.
Well, first, thank you for sharing your vulnerability and your journey as well. I can't even imagine the amount of like loss that feels like. And it sounds like you went from a place of having to, I'll just figure it out all by myself and hold it together, to being broken down to being like you have to fully live as yourself and in honor of your mom, as you mentioned. How can you welcome those people and that community in? Because to the proverb you mentioned, like life is not meant to be done alone, as lonely as it can feel sometimes. Like
Exactly.
in that, what would you say grief has taught you?
Grief has taught me.
It's a messy thing.
It is, listen, it's messy, it's layered, it's
Mhm.
complicated, it's different every year. Mother's Day is
Mhm.
coming up, and
Yeah.
I'm co-hosting a retreat with a dear friend of mine, Naomi Hutchinson, who lost her mom when she was 9. I think 9 or 10. And so she lost her mom when she was young, and we're doing this co-hosted retreat together on Mother's Day. And this week has been, as you know, we did the summit, and then I had retreats that I was, not hosting myself, but was basically hired to teach yoga and do sound baths at, and, with my dear soul sister, Ray. And it was like, okay, what's happening here? Really being able to sit with the fact that this year's Mother's Day feels different, even leading up to it. Even the fact
Mm.
of like, my mom passed away 5 days after my birthday. And
Oh.
even just kind of in dealing with this year, it was different. I was up at my teacher's beautiful home uh, for a solo retreat. And we were able to do some really beautiful ceremony in honor of my mom. I built her a altar in the forest with a bunch of things that are easily biodegradable back into the earth. And so I'd never done that before. And so this year, what grief has taught me that, like I said, it's ever changing, it's ever evolving, because as we evolve, as we grow, as we learn, it's almost like, the book, The Body Keeps the Score, but it's also like the score changes, right? The score doesn't stay
Mhm.
the same every year. The score is maybe this year the grief is like kicking your ass, or
Mhm.
the next year you're like, okay, this is grief, but also I'm able to work with it and not have it be so debilitating as it's been in the past. And so grief has taught me grace,
Mm.
a lot of grace for not just myself, but really for other people. As unfortunately, I mean, it's going to happen to us all, right? Unless there's some sort of secret, that I don't know about. We don't know about that. But as I see some friends of mine losing their mom, losing their parents, right now. And so I'm witnessing it from a perspective of being 19 and 43, of seeing like, oh man, like, this is tough. And I was having to hold
Mhm.
it at such a tender young age. And now they're holding it here. So grief has taught me to have a lot of grace, even more compassion than ever before, not just for people who've lost their parents, but really for people who are just like navigating life, figuring it out, and have been under the thumb of parents for, most of their lives. Now all of a sudden they don't have
Mhm.
anybody to, appease, or have anybody to, make sure that, someone asked me the other day, they were like, what did your family think about when you decided to resign from your corporate job? And I was like,
Mm.
oh, I mean, I haven't had parents in like 24 years. And so my brother, I mean, I'm like, what do you mean? And then I asked him, I said, oh, do you have a really big family? And they said, yes. And almost like everything that they do, it's almost like ran through this like family opinion. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I get it. I get why you asked me that. I said, honestly, I've just always moved to the beat of my own drum. And
Mm.
so again, grief is something that has taught me that it, I have actually been grieving the death of my mother, but it's just been different every year. And people that are even grieving the loss of a sense of self, if they've never lost a person or haven't lost a person yet, that is still like, okay, they need some compassion there. Cause I used to not have a lot of it. I used to be like, figure it out. I had to when I was 19, figure it out,
Yeah.
figure it out, figure it out, which is like, yes, but also some people just don't know how.
Yeah.
So,
In that loss so early on, do you feel like you live with a sense of like mortality closer to you?
um, hmm. You know, I think that what it did when I shifted my perspective, hmm, when I shifted my perspective around my mother. So I stopped living in the shadow of my dead mother a couple years ago. I said, okay, I have honored her. I have done all the things. Now it's really time to live for me and really
Yeah.
live and do for me and what I want to do. And
Mhm.
it I started to develop this really beautiful relationship with death, and not being afraid of it, not being, not that I'm ready, but obviously it's not in my control. So, but also seeing that when people struggle with the concept of the fact of like, they're like, I mean, I just could never, when people are, I could just now, I don't know what I would do if my
Yeah.
mom or dad passed away. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, well, you'll eventually know and you'll figure it
Mhm.
out. I don't wish it upon you now, but you figure it out. And I think that I don't really necessarily, a girlfriend of mine who knew my mother, I've known her since sixth grade. We were at dinner the other night and she asked me about whether or not I worry about, getting any sort of like illness or anything like that. I said, no, I just don't claim it for myself. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that people who do get sick claim it for themselves. I'm just like, I just don't even think about it because
Mhm.
whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And, what it, not necessarily closer to mortality thinking, but really just like operating in a space of surrender, full stop.
Yeah. And that's powerful because there's trust and surrender. And as you mentioned, living to the beat of your own drum, too. And trusting and aligning with your own intuition and shining in that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And something that you share as your mantra is stay brave in your pursuit of joy. Where did this come from and what does this look like for you lived out?
I had a podcast called What Are You Bringing with my dear friend, my first yoga teacher, my first teacher that I met here in LA, has become dear friend and family, Jen Pasteloff. We did this podcast together during the pandemic called What Are You Bringing? And then at the end, I just started saying, stay brave in your pursuit of joy because
Mm.
I have a candle line. There's some back there. And it's the I Am collection. And one of the candles, the blue label is I Am Brave. And so the collection itself is the I Am collection of, there's I am brave, I am free, I am beautiful, I am love, I am joy. And then the newest one is stay brave in your pursuit of joy. And I created this mantra when I first started teaching yoga, and it was, may everything you do be a moving meditation. May everywhere you
Mhm.
go be guided by peace. Your light
Mhm.
is your vision and your protection. May you use it to set your soul free. And so at the end of that, it was, I am brave, I am strong, I am free. And so stay brave in your pursuit of joy was dropped into my mind. And I just said it one day. And Jen was like, that's good. I was like, I don't know. So I just kept saying at the end of our podcast is like, stay brave in your pursuit of joy. I would start saying it, signing it at the end of all my Instagram posts and email newsletters and things like that. And what that means is, and where I am in my life now and how it is a truly lived mantra for me is joy is something that is a byproduct of continuation. It's a byproduct of ascension. It's a byproduct of not giving up. Right. And for me, I'm genuinely optimistic, happy person. But for a long time, when I was grieving and sad and didn't know what that meant, didn't know what to deal with these emotions. I was like, oh, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. When deep down inside, I was dying inside. I was miserable. I was sad and so many other adjectives. And so staying brave in your pursuit of joy is not, okay, I'm in pursuit of joy, so life can be really easy, or I'm in pursuit of joy, so I can, make other people around me happy. It's a bravery that it takes to keep going.
Mm.
There's a bravery of, you know, cultivating a life, without, the people here who birthed you to check in with, to ask questions for, like, okay, tell me more about this or tell me more about you. And
Yeah.
in pursuit of is you keep going. Like I said, you just keep moving. You just keep going. You just keep moving. And lately, the lived experience with staying brave in your pursuit of joy is really trusting the pace that
Mm.
I am really needing now more than ever before, trusting
Yeah.
that I am protected, I am guided, and that's joy. And more than anything, I'm guided towards peace. I'm guided towards these understanding of like, peace isn't just like something that you earn. It's something that, oh my God, I'm just was tired. I was tired of fighting. I was tired of fighting with myself. I was tired of just not believing in myself and so many other things, and really living small. And not just like from a fiscal standpoint, but
Yeah.
really just from a mindset standpoint, knowing that my mind is big and it's bold and it's bright and it's forever growing and I'm creative. And so just trusting all of that. And it's been a journey, and it will forever be a journey for me to stay brave in my pursuit of joy. And so helping other people do that is also like what, is making me happy right now. So, yeah.
You're such a vibrant light, and as you're speaking, I even like imagine the candle as the perfect metaphor for the joy, because the light is like what is inside of all of us, and that's like what endures and lights the way. And you have to have darkness to be able to have that light. And it goes back to what you were saying before, is the trust and the surrender in the process
Hmm.
is where the joy and the bravery happens as well, too. Yeah.
Yeah. Trust in the process.
For somebody who is listening and feels disconnected from their joy, where would you tell them to start?
For someone listening who feels disconnected from their joy, mm, if you can look back on your life and remember, no matter how magnificent, how the magnitude of the experience, or if it was just as we started kind of the call talking about God wink, can you remember a moment where you were just free? And free to just play in the dirt as a kid, get messy, make a mess. And as I'm saying this now, that might not have been a reality for a lot of people. And so even if you can look past that, maybe it's like in adulthood, you were able to find moments that you had a moment. And if you really can sit with yourself and do a scan over your life up until this point, can you find a time where you were like, I really had fun doing that?
Mhm.
And whatever it is, right? And if it's something that was unhealthy, then let's not spend too much time there. But
Mhm.
recognize, let's say if it was something that was unhealthy, what in that moment, like, that either drew you to doing whatever it was you were doing, can you look back even then, right? Like, can you look back to just the small micro moments or magnificent moments over your life and see if there were moments where you were really happy? I can go back to a moment where there was this event in Atlanta where I grew up called For Sisters Only, and it was hosted by V103, the local radio station there. My mom and I went every year. I have this very vivid memory of us walking hand in hand up the escalator, and us just having this day where it was just us, right? And it's really makes me emotional now, even thinking about it and remembering it, because it was just us. And in the midst of those moments, my mom was able to create, like, in the midst of like the trials and tribulations that were occurring at home, she was still able to carve out micro moments or magnetic moments or magnificent moments for us to really spend time together and have fun, have a day where we're not like worried about, everything that was going on. And so I can go back to that one. And anytime I kind of feel like, when I felt like my world was caving in, and anytime you feel like your world is caving in and you're like, there's no joy. And if you're like, Ace, there was never a joyous moment in my life
Mhm.
that I ever had, right? And
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, if that's the case for you, then maybe you have a sibling, maybe you're a mom, maybe you're a dad, maybe you're an uncle, maybe you're an aunt. And can you look at, maybe if you're spending time with children, and can you think of a moment where you were able to connect with a child in your life, and you saw that whatever y'all were doing together made them so happy, and that made you so happy, right? And so I think that people, when they get disconnected from their joy, because I have definitely been there, it takes really sitting with whatever that feeling is, and the desire to want to get out of it. For me,
Yeah.
I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was sick and tired of like having my heart feel so heavy. I was sick and tired of, just kind of living with this weight on my shoulder that wasn't even mine to carry anymore. And
Right.
so I had to get honest with myself, right? And so I think that a lot of times we need to get honest with ourselves, and we don't necessarily have to look to outside of ourselves for validation, but I don't know, having this opportunity to really sit with yourself, sit with myself, and really examine if whenever I'm in a dark space, what am I learning right now? What is this lesson right now? What is happening right now? I just recently learned about, the fact that like the universe, anything that's hard where there's a lesson from it is from the universe. Now, if people are being cruel and mean to you, don't put up with that. That's not cool. But if
Yeah.
there's like a hard time where you're like, okay, the universe is teaching me something and it just sucks right now, can you sit with that? And then can you be accountable for yourself? Can you take responsibility for yourself and say, you know what, I'm tired and I want to pull myself out of it? And I'm not talking, obviously, there's nuances and there's context here for like, clinical things that may be
Yeah.
happening and medical things that may be happening, of course. But look at the time that you have. Look at the fact that like, no one is promised tomorrow. And if you can look at yourself as a person who has meaning and purpose and you were born for a reason, even if your relationship with your parents were strained, they're no longer here, all these sort of things. It's like you were brought here for a reason. And so that enough is plenty to be joyful about.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing, because I'm sure, and I know people in my life and even people listening that will need that right now to be like, well, I'm so alone. Like, how can I even try to find joy in this hard time, when it's like,
Yeah.
sure, I can have it be a lesson, but how can I how can I remember those glimmers and actually like be that glimmer in that time too?
Yeah, because a lot of the times it's like we haven't really set to even think to really examine or scan our life, right? Like it's like, okay, well, I'm going to sit here. Well, this just sucks right now, but have you really taken a moment, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do a scan of the last 30 days of your lived experience, the last year of your lived
Mhm.
experience? You don't even have to go back all that far. But look at the fact that like you're here now, you're listening to this podcast, you're watching this podcast, like, wherever you're taking in this lesson and this information is a gift. And it's like, okay, all right, so what am I going to do? What am I going to do going forward? What can I change? What can I shift? What can I take responsibility for? And what can I do this all with love so that I
Mm.
can really go and get out of this funk that I'm in, get out of this place where I'm at, and move forward to wherever, your dreams take you, wherever you desire, or maybe it's just taking a shower, like taking
Yeah.
a shower, going for a walk, eating a nutritious meal. So, yeah.
Yes, leading with love and getting back to the simple things of even nourishing ourselves seem like the most simple things, but they're also sometimes the most powerful things we can do to
Yeah.
even bring that joy back.
Yep.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, in that vein too, tell me more about peace in the pause and what's possible from this place.
Yeah, Peace in the Pause is something that I created. This idea came to me a couple years ago when I was sitting with one of my teachers and they talked about the holy pause. And
Mm,
so I grew up where, anger was my first line of defense. There was no pausing, there was no thinking. It was strictly, how can I react to this person? Because I was always
yeah.
in defense mode.
Mhm.
And then over time with lessons along the way and understanding that that's not a great place to live. That's not a great place to operate from because you could really harm yourself. You can harm others and so on and so forth. And it's just not It's just not useful.
Mhm.
But what I learned, like I said, what I learned along the way is there was sacredness in my rage, there's sacredness in
Yeah.
my anger, and being compassionate about that. However, give myself space and time and grace and love to respond in the most effective way so I don't feel like, icky or crunchy after the interaction, which was, my past experiences with whenever there would be conflict. And so peace in the pause is a rendition of the holy pause of being like, okay, I'm just going to take a moment before I respond to this, before I react to this, before I do anything and sit with whatever feeling is happening right now and not even describing it or anything like that, just really sitting with it. And then getting
Yeah.
to the place of like, if you're with someone or you have the tools to start to describe it and whatnot, that is what peace in the pause is. Peace in the pause is an opportunity to really sit with what is, an opportunity to grow from that, an opportunity to really become in love with our body again from somatic movement, yoga, yin yoga, and just really honoring wherever we are from a physical standpoint. Movement is medicine. It's what I will always be doing until the day I have no more breath in my body. I will always be moving my body because it moves the stuck energy around. It's science, right?
Mhm.
Like you don't move your body. And a lot of the times, if you're feeling, crunchy, you're just not moving enough. And I'm not saying,
Mhm.
saying it in a simplistic standpoint, but it's like, have you moved your body today? Have you drank water today?
Mhm.
Have you stretched? Has the sun kissed you lately? And if that's
Mhm.
not the case, then peace in the pause is a understanding. Oh my God, there's a hummingbird outside of my window. Like talk about like peace
Aw,
in the pause. I was just, that is so great. I was
there's
watching
a
a
God
hummingbird,
wink right there.
a God wink for sure. I was watching a hummingbird the other day when I was in the kitchen filling up my tea kettle. And the hummingbird was just drinking its stuff and really just enjoying having his breakfast, just like I was like having my tea. And I was like, that hummingbird isn't worried about anything. He's not worried about
Mm.
where he's going to get his next meal. He's not worried about if the sun is going to shine. He's not worried about if it's going to rain, anything like that. And so peace in the pause is a practice of really just moving in the flow of life, moving with what is. Like I said, we do yoga, we do meditation. There's some somatic movement. There's sound healing. There's meditation. There's Reiki. There's any sort of healing modality that I have been immersed in and taught in and lived in and embodied over these last 20 years of doing this. And I bring this offering to my clients. I bring it to groups. I bring it to my retreats and having a moment to breathe before responding, having a moment to think about, okay, I could fire off this 3-page letter via text. However,
Mhm.
I'm going to sit with, I'm going to sit with what I'm feeling right now. And I'm going to come back when I feel regulated. So we help to regulate the nervous system because you could be doing all of this stuff. And if your nervous
Mhm.
system is not regulated, it's not going to land and it's not going to
Yeah.
stay. And so what peace in the pause is, it's teaching a lifestyle shift. Not just like,
Mhm.
okay, before I, can respond to something, but really a lifestyle shift for yourself because we deserve peace. We deserve to be loved. And when we are regulated, when we're hydrated, when we're rested, when all of our basic needs are being met financially, emotionally, and physically, then we can really operate from a place of authenticity
Mhm.
in our best selves, right? Like calling our energy back is one of the practices that I was taught with my teacher so that I can move fully in my authenticity. So peace in the pause is, I know that was a long answer because
No, I
it's,
love it.
it's big. It's peace in the pause is an opportunity for you to really have a lifestyle shift. What I
Mhm.
do is not something that is overnight. Me sitting right here and chatting with you is not an overnight thing. It is not
Yeah.
something where I'm like, okay, well, so I took a class, read a book, and I have a membership at Erewhon. It's like, no, this is a whole lifestyle I am living what I'm teaching, and I'm living what I have been taught. And if I am not
Mhm.
living in it, then I'm practicing, and I'm
Yeah.
practicing living in my full authenticity. And so peace in the pause is my ability to be able to help other people do that same thing.
Mhm. I love that, and it's so powerful, and it also makes me think of part IFS parts work as well as what are all of these different parts of me, of
Yeah.
anger and fear and grief, and honoring
Yeah.
those to be like, "Oh, thank you. Thank you, that part of me, for anger or grief, for making me feel this way. How
Yeah.
can I hold them to feel so held, to be able to regulate your nervous system and come back to that authenticity of like, who am I beneath this?"
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. And nervous system work is like so powerful. And even personally, I just am someone who is like, let me go, go, go. And then sometimes I just numb out from even being with myself by busying myself. But then when I'm in that place, it's like my body's like, this might be scary because you aren't used to it as much. But from this place, is that true authenticity? Is that true unlock? Is the true breadcrumbs of what is that one right next step to be able to take? What have
Yeah.
you seen is possible for your clients through peace in the pause?
What have I seen as possible for my clients? Well, I have one client I've been working with, and it's a and it's been an evolution, right? It has been them coming from a space of like, oh, I don't know, I feel so broken, I feel so alone, I don't know what to do, I'm sad, all these sort of things, to being like, okay, I'm going to sit with what this information is showing me. I'm going to remember that I am a part of a community. I am not isolated. I am not operating alone. I'm a part of a family that I have created, not a family of origin that, could have its harmful things that people will need to heal from too. But what I see clients really gleaning from and walking away from peace in the pause with is a better understanding of who they are authentically and truly accepting who they are. Essentially, at the end of the day, you're walking away with more of an authentic self, appreciation for
Mhm.
who you are. Peace in the pause is an opportunity for you to gain better physical awareness of where you are in space and time. It's an opportunity to get stronger in your body, your mind, and your heart. It's an opportunity for you to set boundaries with yourself, for yourself, and teaching other people how to do the same thing. Peace in the pause
Mhm.
is an opportunity to hold the great joyful moments and also hold the moments that are really not so great and that challenge us.
Mhm.
And also understanding that, you know what, like I have these resources, I am well resourced because I'm able to sit with what is for what it is right now and then move from a place slowly, gracefully, at a pace that works for me to get to peace, to get to joy,
Mhm.
to get to, and all of this again is all done in and with love. So peace in the pause is one of my favorite new offerings that honestly, it's not something that is going to be, okay, this is transparently what I was struggling with it when I first kind of was like, I've been sitting with it for a while. Cause I'm like, it has to mean this thing and it has to be put in a box and it has to be, and it's like, no, it's a living, breathing, just like the person who signs up for it. It's a living, breathing organism that is
Mhm.
forever evolving and forever changing because I am forever evolving and forever changing. And the people that I get to work with are as well. But really, at the baseline, the through line of it all is for you to stand in your full authenticity. So there it is. It
Mhm.
came back. So yeah, really fully standing in who you are as a person and then moving in that way.
You beat to your own drum, so why would you have a program that's putting baby in the corner or a box?
Thank you. Thank you, Zoe. I don't know, because we get into this space of like, you know what? Like, it's got to look like what else is happening out there. And then that's, when you forget your magic. I don't look like
Mhm.
what else is out there. I've not gotten here by following a blueprint that is non-existent, right? Like, no one was guiding me and teaching me how to do any of this. It was like, I'm learning, I'm putting all of the modalities that has helped me to get to where I am today together. And that's every
Mhm.
day. And I'm blessed, thank God, with such amazing teachers. But my teacher that I was just telling you about, Miriam Hasna, I just started recently working one-on-one with her back in October because I was ready for her. Before, I wasn't
Mhm.
ready. And the universe knew that. Me being a part of her school, studying her work, and that takes time. I've been a part of her school for 8 years. I think that what I want people to really, release themselves of the shackles of things happening overnight, because that's just not
Mhm.
the case. It's not the case,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So we just need to give ourselves grace and understanding in that regard.
What is possible and has been possible for you in the power of the pause? Something I know that you might not say for yourself, but I know Kelsey Patel has said that the most amazing opportunities have come to you. And to even ask you, how does that look for you, and why do you think that happens?
The
I
power
mean,
in
I
the
have an
pause.
inkling because of your authenticity, but I want to hear from you.
So the power, what has come from the power in the pause for me? Is that the
Yeah,
question? Sorry. Okay.
yes. What has come from that, as well as like what do you attribute to all of these beautiful opportunities coming your way?
Oh my gosh. Well, I I mean, you said it, me being me, but not to be so, yeah, I'm just me. But no, I really believe that these opportunities come in when you're ready. And it's not okay, I'm ready now. It's not like, it's like, no, you're not ready.
Mm,
It has come because I have felt it in my body. I have
mhm,
seen it in my mind in one way, shape, or form. It has come in me being really honest about the struggles that I experience. I these opportunities come because I listen, I pay attention, I show up with heart and with respect and with kindness. I really appreciate people. One of the things that I didn't say earlier about when you lose your parents young is you really have a deep appreciation for people and who show up for you.
mm,
And for me, I definitely was like really appreciative of my friends' families that really took me in. Um, and even though I might not be close to those friends as much as we were before, I still never lose the appreciation that and understanding that, there's just like a deep amount of love that I have and heart because I did lose my parents so young. And so I think
mm,
opportunities find me transparently because it's my turn. And
mm,
it's not someone else's turn because it's my turn, but it's my turn. And, you know, I've paid dues time and time and time again. A friend of mine had to remind me, he goes, "You lost both your parents, bro, before you were 19. I think you've been through enough, right? And
yeah.
not that I'm not gonna go through anything else ever again, but I think you've gone through enough so you can stop beating yourself up. You can stop living in this place of where you owe people. You can stop thinking that that you're operating in a deficit, right? Like and it makes me emotional to think about the ways in which I would count myself out before I even attempted to do something. And I know that's like some women deal with that, right? Not all, but like some women really deal with the fact that like, oh, we're not 100% qualified for this job, so we're not going to apply. When there's some people who are 75% qualified and they apply and they get it because they're just like, whatever, let's just go. And I think these opportunities keep finding me, and I keep everything always works out, whether it works out in the time that I would love it to work out in or the time in which God has a plan for my life. And so that's why these opportunities, and when things are hard, when things are tough, when I am going through crunchy moments, I come out of it like, I mean, I couldn't, I just, I know that it's my turn, and I know I show up, and I just show up with love. I mean, that's just me. Even if I don't even like want to be there, want to be somewhere fully, or not even because I don't want to be there, but maybe I'm having a hard day. And when I show up, I'm honest about me having a hard day, not to dump on people that are not in a space to hold that at all. But I think that the reason why these beautiful opportunities come, because I have said to myself, I deserve peace, and I deserve
Yeah.
to have life not be hard. And
Mhm.
life to just be in this place of like, listen, like there are going to be moments, and I'm going to always be learning lessons. Thank God. As long as I have lungs in my body, as one of my teachers says, I've got options, right? So I'm not going to ever be without an option. And I've
Mm.
really lived my life fully in a way to know that like I am so well equipped. I am so well resourced. I am so loved. I know that what is happening now, I am only and always continuing on in my ascension. And so believing that in your heart of hearts, when your
Yeah.
mom dies, right? Like when your
Mhm.
mom really dies and you really have somehow made it up in your mind that you're going to be alone forever,
Mhm.
unshackling myself from that thought pattern has allowed me to really be open to more opportunities than I can count and more to come. And it's a way for me to even, which is my favorite thing in the world, is creating other opportunities for people too. So, because I
Mhm.
know how it is to operate in a silo. And I know how scary it can be when you feel like you're all alone. But at the end of the day, you aren't all alone. And me releasing that mindset and setting that away and healing that was something that really shifted my ability to show up and really be prepared to receive.
Wow, so beautiful. I just want to give you a big hug right now and thank you for being you too. And it's so much of you showing up as you and having that mindset that it is my turn. I'm going to walk into that room and I'm going to shine, and that energy, I've been grateful to experience your real life energy in a room, is truly magnetic and something that people want to be around and is infectious.
Thank you so much, Zoe. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for having me be now part of your universe. And honestly, it is such a testament to, I really get to do this life in lived experience along some pretty dynamic people, mostly, most all of them women. And it's
Mhm.
really special to see that women, no matter what their background is, no matter where they came from, they're like, I have a story to tell. I have a difference to make in this life. And I don't know how all the pieces of the puzzle are going to fit, but I'm going to keep
Mhm.
putting it together, and I'm going to keep putting one foot in front of the other when you so easily could give up. And we don't, right? We don't give
Mhm.
up. It's like when we haven't gotten this, but like, when I get to work with kids and ACE yoga for kids, right? When I
Yeah.
get to be at the preschools with them, teaching them yoga, and, they'll say, oh, I can't, that's too hard. But they're only saying that because they haven't tried it yet. And then they try it
Yeah.
and they get into it and they fall out, and they're not weeping and wallowing over themselves falling out of something that they've never done before. They've moved on. They've already moved on. So, I mean,
Mhm.
even if you're trying to console them for something, you turn your head for a second, they're done with it. And so
Yeah.
that's one of the greatest ways for me is like I get to work with kids, and I get to watch them, help them regulate their nervous system, become more body positive with how they are, body awareness for where they are in their little, middle, and big bodies, right?
Yeah.
And understanding that they're growing, and they're just trusting the process, and they're having a great time. They're just having a
Mhm.
great time. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I'm sure that's so fun. How did you get into yoga with kids, and why do you think it's so important to help them get into their bodies and yoga so early on?
Um, I started teaching yoga to kids on Zoom in 2021. So a friend of mine recommended, he was like, why don't you do yoga and for kids? And I was like, what? Okay, I hadn't thought about it. He's like, you're so animated. And so that would be so fun. You'd be so great at it. And I was like, okay, let me give it a try. And of course it's during Zoom, during the time of 2021 where everyone's at home. And so I started in the first couple of classes. I was like, oh my God, I love this so much. This is so fun. Right. And then it just kind of grew from there. I would get an opportunity to I got taught at one of these places, here locally in, LA in Studio City, the Shops at Sportsman Lodge. Like I got to teach yoga there, down in Manhattan Village there. And then that kind of turned into me being recommended at preschools, which I've been at since then. And then middle schools now. I've taught at some high schools. I've, taught at, different birthday parties, private sessions with kids. And so it is important because I'm going in and teaching them something that, again, is forever, I hope, right? Not just
Mm,
like, okay, get into the best warrior too. Like, no, we're just making our bodies into shapes. But it is so important for them to have this awareness of their bodies as they get stronger, as they grow, as they start to look different than their peers. They already love themselves. They're not like worried about me not looking like my friends, right? We hope.
yeah.
That's what I'm instilling in them, helping to instill in them with their amazing teachers and their parents, and their, family of origin and whatnot. I'm just, a part of this whole village. Um, Great, with such gratitude for them for that. But it's really something where it's like, okay, let's learn how to breathe. I didn't know how to breathe. I didn't know how to deal with my big emotions. Like I said, anger was my first line of defense. And so if they can learn self-regulation very early, again, when things come up that may not be going their way as they get older, they know how to self-soothe. They know how to regulate. They know how to ask for help, which is a big thing that, again, like I said, I forgot, and a lot of adults do,
Yeah.
asking for help. They're going to ask for my help. They're going to ask me to hold their hand. They're going to ask me, to do it again and again and again so it can feel fun for them and they can feel it in their body. And so having body awareness and body appreciation and body love from a very young age, like that's again something that's an imprint. That's a program.
Mhm.
And so if that's a beautiful program that they get to pick up, and I get to be a part of it, then awesome.
Wow. I love that, and it's just so needed. And you have created, it sounds like, the most incredible chosen family in your life, and you are being that for other people too. From teaching kids yoga to being in so many people's lives to just the light that you are.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. I love it. I love this life. I love this life that we get to live. And I'm so excited for all the people that I have yet to meet and that I have yet to work with. I have yet to learn from. So it's so fun.
What a zest for life. So, as
Yeah.
we wrap up, what is one reminder you want everyone listening to carry with them coming out of this conversation?
I'd say the one reminder that I want people to get from this conversation is just because your story started one way, it doesn't have to end that way. That
Mm,
you really get to be the author, the architect, the illustrator, the designer of whatever life that you really want to live. And the moment you can have compassion with your journey and for your journey and for where you're going is the moment you can really get free.
that's beautiful. Thank you. And where can our community connect with you, experience peace in the pause, all of your other offerings, and all of your goodness?
Oh, yeah. You can visit my website, aceyogala.com. And I'm Ace Yoga LA on all the socials and Ace Yoga for Kids. I'm also on Interdimension Yoga TV. So I have Ace Yoga for Kids classes there for ages from 3 to 12. And so, yeah, that's how you can stay connected with me. So thank you so much, Zoe. This is so fun. This is such a great conversation.
Amazing. Yes, thank you so much. We'll link everything in the show notes, and thank you for this beautiful conversation and being the you that you are.
Awesome. My pleasure. See you later. Stay brave in your pursuit of joy. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the We Shine Well podcast. If today's conversation lit something up in you, I'd love for you to share it with a friend, leave us a review, and dive deeper each week by subscribing to our Substack in the show notes to interact with guests and discover more resources to expand you. Until next time, keep trusting your right next step and keep shining, my friend.